welcome back to the Corner of Craft podcast. I hope you're all well. I believe this is episode 74. I can't remember. I really should look this up before I actually switch the camera on. But hey. This is a knitting and very occasionally crochet podcast in which I talk to you all about the things that I have recently completed or I'm currently working on, and we just sit and have a cup of tea and a bit of a natter. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Skillshare, but we'll talk more about them in a little bit. I hope you're all well. Yeah, I feel like it's been ages since I last filmed a podcast, but it hasn't been. I don't know if that means that this past fortnight has been long or what, but yeah. I actually have a couple of finished objects to share with you and a couple of whips, which is very exciting. You can already see one of the finished objects, but I'll talk about it in a second. Got some nice big sunshines in today because it was really nice and sunny when I left for my run this morning, and then it's gone really cloudy, so that's kind of annoying, but hey, hopefully it's not gonna rain. It's forecast, not today, later on this week. But yeah, it's not fun. I just want spring to be here. Is that too much to ask? It's apparently too much to ask. But before we get into the podcast, let's chat for a second about Skillshare. If you have a creative brain, then Skillshare is the learning community for you. There are thousands of classes available from anything like photography, video editing, all of that, all the way over to business management, SEO and all of that. Basically, there's a huge scope of things, and I'm sure you will find something that you want to do within that scope. In fact, there are so many knitting classes, which I think is awesome. So if you want to dabble with brioche or you want to dabble with colour work, then there are classes for you. They set projects, which means you can, you know, submit work that you've done and get feedback on them, which, as someone who strives for positive feedback, I really appreciate. It's a bit more of a two-way conversation, which is what we like. Whether you want to improve on the skills that you already have or you want to learn something new, there are classes for you. You can filter them by difficulty, so you're not taking a class telling you a lot of information that you already know. You can skip the beginning steps if you're more of an intermediate or an advanced. I mentioned this creator in my last video, but I really like his teaching styles, Thomas Frank. He does a series about productivity, and the class that I'm currently taking is Real Productivity, How to Build Habits That Last, and just try and make being productive part of my daily routine, because I struggle with that sometimes and it's all too easy to doom scroll on the phone. Because Skillshare is built for learning, your classes aren't going to be interrupted by ads. It costs only $10 a month if you go for the annual subscription, which I think works out to about £7.50 the last time I checked. Once again, if you go for the annual subscription, and that's a pretty sweet deal to have unlimited access to thousands of classes and even live workshops. Skillshare have been so generous to offer the first 1,000 of my subscribers a free trial to Skillshare's premium membership. Oh, so fancy. Click the link in the description box below or in the top pinned comment to claim your spot. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and yeah, let's get back to the podcast. So the tea that I'm drinking today, because I know you all care, out of my silver spot ceramics mug, because I love this mug more than life itself sometimes, it's just a Yorkshire tea biscuit brew. We're keeping it easy breezy today. Yum. Mario made me the tea whilst I was putting my makeup on, so it's perfect drinking temperature. Thanks, Mario. He's just in the next room, so if I'm a bit weird through the podcast, that is why, because I'm not used to filming and being so chatty with somebody else in the house. Yes, shall we get into finished objects? Because like I said, I'm wearing one. That was a dramatic hair flip, I love it. So this is my fluff nugget cardigan in all of its completed glory. Last time I spoke to you, I cut the button band off, or I was about to unravel the button band. I cut the button band off once I'd finished filming, and it knit back very quickly, so I'm really glad I did, because now it fits perfectly. This is the Fluff Nugget cardigan. This is a pattern by Becky Sorensen and is now out into the world. So feel free to check either on Ravelry or Becky has a pay hip, and I will link her Instagram in the podcast notes, which are listed in the description box below, along with my social media. I forgot to talk about that. They're also in the description box below. I forgot to do my whole normal intro. That's fine. I thought it was short. Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm in Nottingham, in England. The weather is miserable. I own the corner of craft. Anyway, so I have knit this fluff nugget out of Chromatic Yarns, which is my own hand-dyed yarn, in the Potion of Heroism colourway. On my fluffy lace base, I think that's what I'm naming it. It's a mohair silk blend, and I held it 3 strands together for ultimate puffiness. We have some light balloonage on the sleeves, and yeah, I will stand. I will stand. We've got sparkly buttons. Da da da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. It's very light and airy. I love it. So, like I said, I didn't quite get the row gauge. I did in my swatch, but apparently I didn't when I knit it up, which meant that my button band wasn't quite right. I've left all notes in, well, that's my Ravelry project page, which isn't accessible to everyone. I'll put some notes in my podcast notes. Yeah, because I ended up having to pick up every row instead of, I think, every few rows. I don't want to give away the maths of the pattern, but I ended up having to pick up every row, and yeah, so much better. So I'm really glad I did. One of my buttonholes I think is stretched slightly, maybe with blocking, because this top button does ping open, so I might have to pop a stitch in it, which is fine. And yeah, I have already worn this a lot. If you've been watching my vlogs, you will know this. Because I love it. It's just so comfortable. It has a mock V-neck, so there's no decreasing or anything. It's created by doing the buttons up, basically. And yeah, it's made entirely from brioche, so it's pretty cool. Because it's going back and forth, you're knitting a cardigan, until you get to the sleeves you don't have to purl, which speeds up the process significantly. Because you're just knitting backwards and forwards, which is great when you're doing brioche. So while you have to knit every row twice, it goes quickly because you don't knit every single stitch on every single row when you do brioche. You like slip one, blah blah. But yeah, I found it very easy. There's even brioche short rows, which I've mentioned before. I was very scared to do, but Becky has video tutorials on how to do them, and also how to do a 3-needle cast off, which is used on the shoulders because it's a bottom up cardigan. And yeah, I found it a breeze to knit, I won't lie. I wouldn't say that I'm an advanced knitter. I'm not a confident knitter. I mean, I'm not a beginner, but yeah, I found it very easy to knit. I love Becky's patterns. They are laid out so clearly, and she puts so much work into doing the maths, and so each size fits the same on each person. Does that make sense? So, for example, the smallest size will fit the same size as the largest size. Obviously not on the same person, because that doesn't make sense, but somebody who's knitting the smaller size will wear it and it will fit the same as somebody who wears the larger size. Hopefully that, I don't think that makes sense, but hopefully that kind of makes sense. Who knows? Anyway, I love the patterns. I believe there are 10 sizes in this, so it is fully size inclusive. I say so. Sometimes size inclusive patterns have a lot of sizes, but they just start lower. But it is a fully size inclusive pattern, and that's even including the recommended ease. And yeah, I knit the 3rd size, and I used 236 grams of mohair, which is pretty good for a whole jumper. It's so light, and yeah, I love it. So please go and buy the fluff nugget pattern, support Becky. She is the love of my life, and other than my husband, but I love her to bits, and I want to see everyone wearing fluff nuggets. When we can all meet at a yarn festival again, we'll have a fluff nugget gathering, so knit yours now so you're prepared. I do have another finished object as well. Speaking of the lockdown sock down, I haven't mentioned it. I am currently hosting a knit along called the Lockdown Sock Down, and in the knit along you knit socks during lockdown. Huzzah! I have picked an end date for it. It is Easter Day, which is the 4th of April. I will pick the winners shortly after, and then I will announce the winner on the following Friday's podcast. And I will also contact you on Instagram. The way you enter is you fill out a Google form. You fill out the form the number of times for the pairs of socks you've knit. If you haven't quite finished a pair of socks, that's fine. Whips also count. But yeah, I just ask that you leave a link to your Instagram post in which you feature the socks, so I make sure that you are using the appropriate hashtags and it is within the date and you're not just, you know, entering socks from 10 years ago. I don't know, you got to check these things. I have a few prizes up for grabs. Thank you so much for the lovely dyers for offering them. And yeah, I also have some lockdown sock down pins that I have held back. I know, they sold out. I've held them back for Cal prizes. So if you want one, enter the Cal and you might win one. That was weird. Anyway, that's the lockdown sock down Cal. So, living in my Down Sheepy Lane project bag, my tea bag with my Secret Cat Shop Caduceus clay pin, along with my Let's Go Make a Cup of Tea and lockdown sock down pins, which are both by me, are a pair of socks that I was meant to finish for Mario's birthday at the beginning of March. Yeah, I didn't finish them, but I have now finished them. And now I've filmed this podcast, well, once I finished filming, I will be able to gift them to him, because today he presented me with 2 socks that both have holes in, so I need to do some mending. We had moths in our old place and I didn't think that they'd got everywhere, but yeah, I just keep finding various wool garments with holes in, so they must have got somewhere. But yeah, really annoying. Anyway, so these are knit out of Chromatic Yarns, my own hand-dyed yarn, in my merino sock base, which is 85% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and no, 15% nylon, do the maths, and they're very soft, which is delightful. This is my Moloch colorway, because all my yarn is inspired by Dungeons and Dragons. And yeah, so it's 72 stitches on a 2.5mm needle. I did 15 rounds of ribbing, 2x2 ribbing on the sock, and then I switched to 3x1 ribbing on the leg. I did a New Depths heel, which is a pattern also by Becky Sorensen and is my favourite heel pattern to knit, but I only increased it by 4 stitches. I usually only do 2 stitches, so I don't know why I did 4. I'd usually do 2 for Mario. For myself I do more. But for Mario I did 4 for this one for some reason, but hopefully they fit fine. And then once I did the heel, I stopped doing the ribbing on the bottom of the foot but continued it on the top of the foot. Yes. I used some Sturdy Sock mini skein that I dyed to soak up the last of the dye, which is just a lovely dark brown colour, and I thought went very well. And it's a bit more hard wearing than the merino, so I thought it might last longer. Although saying that, one of the holes in his sock is like here, so maybe I didn't need to, but doesn't matter, so he's got them. And yeah, there's not a whole lot else to say. My Sturdy Sock base is 75% superwash Blueface Leicester and 25% nylon, so that's why I said it was a bit more hard wearing than the merino, but they're super soft and I look forward to him wearing a hole in these as well. But yeah, 1 pair of socks. Oh no, this is my 2nd pair of socks for the lockdown sock down finished, which I started in January, so that's actually pretty appalling. Oh well. But yeah, and that is all the finished objects that I have. I know, but I do have some works in progress. So while we're talking about socks, we will continue to talk about socks. So living in my Exploding TARDIS Van Gogh bag by the lovely Bernadette. Creepy Knitting is what it's called. I was gonna say Knitting and Crime. No, she has a YouTube channel here. I believe it's called Coffee and Craft, but she has a series called Creepy Knitting in which she talks about true crime while knitting. It's very good. I enjoy it. But I have cast on my 2nd sock. So this is the Rainbow Cake colorway by Liz of the Yarn Badger. I cast this on for my birthday in September. Not this one, I cast this one on, but obviously have not finished it. But I cast this on the other night and knit it whilst video chatting with my friends and managed to get a significant amount done, which was very nice. So this is 2.25mm needles, 64 stitches. I have done 18 rows of ribbing, I believe, and I have a feeling I may have done, oh no, they're about the same. Oh no, one has longer ribbing than the other. Perfect. So yeah, I tried to cast them on so they'd be about the same, but I didn't, so that's kind of annoying. I now need to remember for the next time I knit stripy socks to have a contrast cuff as well, instead of trying to match them up, because now it doesn't match and it's kind of annoying. But hey ho, you do what you can, they'll be fine. They're really pretty. So yeah, this is yarn by the Yarn Badger, and it is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon base, and she is very good at self-striping, which I have never tried. Always seems like too much maths involved to dye self-striping, so I will leave it to the people who are good at it, instead of trying to do it myself. But I saw this yarn and I couldn't resist, so I had to get it, and now I'm stalling knitting it every chance I can get. I don't know. So I have a new cast on that you haven't seen. I know. So this is living in my, whoop, the clip is stuck on the thing and now it's not. The Little Blue Robin project bag. Ba-da-ba. Druid Magic. I have some new enamel pins by Critically Cute. They are Critical Role themed, obviously. So this is Rumble Cusp, and then this is Let Chaos Reign. They're both Travelercon 3000 badges or pins, and I couldn't resist popping them on my Druid Magic bag because the colour coordination was too good. And then I have my little mushroom on here as well from Green Lambkin Yarns. So yes, very nice. Anyway, new cast on. Get excited. I went through a phase a few years ago where I would knit loads of sew faded jumpers, loads of them. I say loads, 2, and then I started a 3rd, and then I didn't like how the yarn was knitting up and it wasn't really fading how I'd envisioned it, and then I ripped it out. But I've started another sew faded because I really like how that style fits on me. So this is technically, as someone in my Instagram comments called it, the no faded, because I'm not going to be fading it. It's going to all be just one colour. So this yarn is by Down Sheepy Lane. It is in her Faded Woods colourway, and it's so pretty. So pretty. It's very autumnal. I bought it for my birthday in 2019, and so yeah, I've just got round to caking it up and casting it on. I am currently alternating skeins using the helical, in my head it should be helical because it's like a helix, knitting technique. I watched Babbles Yarns, Grace, that's her name. I was like, this is the problem. I know people by their Instagram names. Babbles Yarns, or Babbles Travelling Yarns on, yeah, I used her tutorial on it to refresh myself. It's very good. And yeah. So I've just started, I haven't got very far through. You just knit back and forth for a while and then you join in the round. So I'm still doing my raglan increases. I have a little hot cross bun there to keep me on track with counting. So I work out how many increases I've done. That's by Tiny Sugar Shop, I believe. Got it a while ago now, but it's almost Easter, so it's time to whip it out again. And yeah, I have a sloth to keep me company on the beginning of the rounds. Let's see if I can get to focus. Yeah. And then this is one of my hand beaded stitch markers. Very cute. Thought I like a bit of colour coordination with my project stitch markers and projects. So yeah, so this is the So Faded sweater. It's a pattern by Andrea Mowry. I've knit it a lot. Well, like I said, almost three times. Previously, I have done 3 different colors that I then faded through. But like I said, this one is just going to be one color. I am using 3.75mm needles, which I didn't swatch, I know, but I have knit this before, and so therefore it should be fine. But once again, different yarn acts differently, I know. I forgot to mention what base this was. This is her Blueface Leicester and Bamboo base. So it's 80% Blueface Leicester, 20% Bamboo, 400 meters per 100 grams. And yeah, colour is Faded Woods. And this is her, I believe this is her old logo. I think she's got new branding now, but hey, this yarn is 1 and a bit years old. And yeah, it's all caked up and beautiful. Yeah, if you haven't tried helical knitting before, it's really easy. And means you don't have a seam where you switch skeins at the beginning of your round, especially because the beginning of the round on this is in the front. Boop. So I just thought it made sense to do helical knitting going round, and yeah, it seems to be working out all right so far. I'm a bit concerned about what to do when I have to do increases, but then I guess I'll just slip somewhere else. I'll work it out, because it's literally on the row that I'm on is where the issue arises. So yeah, I'm very excited to knit this. I think it's going to be very wearable. I mean, in the spring, but especially in the autumn, thinking ahead. And yeah, I just want to knit all the garments now. This is what's happened. All the garments, which is great for my stash of single skein yarns that I've got upstairs. Because yeah, they're more suited for shawls and such. Oh well, I'll make something work. But yeah, that is everything that I am knitting and working on. So yeah, I'm just going to briefly talk about shop things. I am having a shop update tomorrow. That is Saturday the 27th of March 2021. That is at 4 PM GMT. A friendly reminder that I realised that some people have changed their clocks already. We do ours this weekend, but I think the Americas have already, or North America at least, have already done theirs. But yeah, it's still GMT, but it might be a different time to what it usually is in your time zone. So please double check, because yeah, our clocks change on Sunday, so Sunday morning. And then we'll be in BST, British Summertime. How exciting. But yes, I have some stitch markers going in the shop for you. I actually have a few skeins of yarn going in the shop for you. It's very exciting. Not as much yarn as I'd hoped, but you know, we're learning to be productive. Hopefully I can get going with the dye shed soon, and I should at some point this week, fingers crossed, by the time you watch this, I would already have some information on it. We'll know more about when I can get water to the dye shed, because that's what I'm twiddling my thumbs on, I think. I don't know. Also, I just have no idea how to DIY, so it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, I've had orders for some sweaters quantities, so thank you very much. So I need to dye them up this week. And yes, so just be quick to the shop update, because I know some of you do get disappointed if you miss out. And I'm very sorry about that, but I can only make as many as my little hands can muster. So yes, I appreciate your patience. But yeah, other than that, I've not really been up to much. I'm filming this on Monday, and I've just started week 4 of Couch to 5K. It's going well so far. I ran for 5 whole minutes non-stop today. I feel quite proud. And yeah, I'm a bit wheezy, but I think it's fine. I think it's just because I exerted myself. But yeah, I'm really enjoying going out and running. It's nice to get out the house and not think about my business for half an hour, which feels weird. I'm very proud that I'm consistently getting out of bed at like 7, 7:30, which is really good for me. Some days in February I wasn't getting out of bed before 9:10. So yeah, I think it's doing wonders for the mental health as well as the physical health. And yeah, other than that, I've just been working lots. Well, if you've been watching my studio vlogs, then you would know what I would be doing. Anyway, but yeah, can't really complain. Hoping to sort out the office space soon, get that all organised and sorted. Off to pick up or purchase a dressing table for our bedroom today off of Facebook Marketplace, so that will be very exciting. And yeah, better head off. I don't really have anything else to tell you because we're not doing anything, because we can't do anything because we're still in lockdown. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you got a spot of knitting done, or you enjoyed a cup of tea, if nothing else. If you would like to follow me on social media, please feel free. Links can be found in the description box below, along with a link to your free trial of Skillshare's premium membership and also the podcast notes. They will both be linked in the top pinned comment, so as well as the description box. Please leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you've been up to, what projects you're working on. I get very invested in your projects, so I would love to hear or read about what you're working on, what's going well for you, and all of that. Don't forget to subscribe. I would love to have you join the party. That is the Corner of Craft. It would be lovely to have you here. I'm currently uploading 3 times a week. Every other week you get a podcast. And yeah, in between you get studio vlogs, which I really enjoy filming and sharing my day-to-day with you. Even if my day-to-day is a little repetitive, but I feel like everyone's is. It's just nice. It's nice having someone to chat to. So I would love it if you would, spend the time with me if you wanted to, no pressure. But yes, I think that's everything I have to say. I can't think of anything else I need to mention. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon in Monday's video. Bye.